we are gonna talk about the approach of using DLT live tables or medallion architecture with bronze, silver and gold layers for our master and support data. In previous video, we just created master data where we had created all three layers. Now let's create very tiny pipeline for this master data only. Afterward, we will create a support data, all these three layers, and then we will join this data eventually. For this, I need to click on this pipeline from left hand side. I'm going to create this pipeline here. Make sure you do not have any compute cluster in running condition. If it is, please close that cluster or delete that cluster from your compute resource. Do check your compute resource first and foremost. Okay, come back to our jobs and pipelines. Here you can see I do not have any job runs currently running in my data engineering sector. I do not have any pipeline as well. So I'm going to create this one. So this is create ETL pipeline. Go back to our pipeline. This would be pipeline 1, or I'm going to name it ETL underscore dev underscore 2025. Now I'm going to keep it, not going to keep it serverless. Rather, I'm going to make it core, pro or advanced. I'm going to keep, you can keep it pro because that's having very low functionality and configuration, but I'm going to keep it advanced now. So what is pipeline mode? If you go back here, you can choose pipeline mode most based on latency and cost requirements here. If you are choosing trigger, means you are going to trigger when you are going to trigger every time. What about the continuous? It's going to running every time whatever the code line or whatever the condition is there. As you can see, trigger pipeline update once and then shut down the cluster until the next manual or schedule update, whereas continuous pipeline keeps on always running cluster that ingests new data as it arrives. This property can change as your requirement evolve. So I'm going to keep it trigger here. Now I'm going to ingest my source code here. So go to users, go to your name and select your Capstone project here. So let's see what's the name here. I'm going to select this part 3. Select it. And I'm going to select my Unity catalog because that's the only catalog I'm going to use. This would be catalog dev 2025. From this, I'm going to select my database, which is the correct schema dev 2025. Now I'm going to select cluster policy as none, cluster mode as fixed, because I do not want more client and server or worker and node. I need only one workers as it is. Then I'm going to not utilize this use photon acceleration and add configuration you use whenever you want to pass any parameters. You will see in upcoming sessions. Now I'm going to select worker type node. So here I'm going to select standard DSV3. It will depend upon your quota and everything. What kind of worker nodes do you have? I'm going to keep the driver type same as worker. You can change with another configuration as well. One more thing here, you can go right and check your summary, what kind of billing you are going to eventually pay. If you want to change any other property such as worker type, so what you'll do, you just go to JSON format. Inside this JSON format, go down, you can see you can change your catalog or schema name as well. If you want to change some node type as well, you can see this would be your node type ID. Make sure you are providing correct name here, correct key and values. If you want to change other parameters as well, you can change it. Come back to user interface. Click on UI from the right hand side and again check everything we have, make it correctly. Finally, I'm going to create, hit create. Now you can see multiple options are showing here. If you can see, this is going to delete option. You can create your ML file. This is a development and this is a production based. Okay, so now you can switch from production to development environment by clicking on it. If you are working on production, you will have to click on production. If you are want to select development, you can select development. So whenever you are going to select this development mode, you can reuse a cluster to avoid the overhead of restarts. Okay, disables pipeline retry so you can immediately detect and fix errors. Whenever you are selecting production mode, it's going to restart the cluster for specific recoverable errors, including memory leaks and stable credentials. It also retries execution in the event of specific error, such as a failure to start a cluster and so on. Now here you can see, if you want to check the setting of this pipeline, you can go back here if you want to change anything. So I'm going to save it again. Now you can schedule, because you can see this is running concurrently. If you want to schedule in every day, in particular single day or particular hour or particular week, you can make it schedule also. Here you can see the advanced functionalities are also available. For example, for a particular time zone you want to include or create some other schedule option, you can make it here. I'm not going to create this trigger, as we know the trigger in ADF, similarly it works that trigger option. If you want to share with this the same DLT with any other, you can share with your colleagues, with your owner, with your team leader, or with your another coordinate as well. So I'm not going to share, but this is a particular option. If you want to see the start or full refresh all or validate, so I'm going to validate this pipeline as we do in ADF. So I'm going to validate it so that it's going to call, first and foremost, it's going to call my notebook, and then it's going to create this ETL, this server. So first and foremost, if you go back here in jobs, job runs, you will find this job run will be running condition. If you can see the jobs and pipeline, this is my pipeline which is in running condition and going to deploy here. Can you see? It's going to waiting my first, it's going to wait for resources. Once it is completed, I'm going to restart this video. Great. After 5-minute waiting, you can go down. This not only created a entire cluster in backend as a job runs, also it just created a pipeline. It's called DAG. So this is bronze customer table, this is silver customer, and this is gold layer. So I'm going to click on this flip to view part, going to hide my settings here. You can see all these tables simultaneously. If you expand this panel here, you can go down. This is showing my details, material view, and table's name, and all the comments are also here. If you check the expectation or schema, you can find this is our schema from master table. When you want to check flow, you can see this is checking this flow, this is checking this flow, and so on. Okay, so this is actually injection, I would say. Now this is the first layer of our part. Now in the next video we will create bronze, silver, and gold layer for our support data again. Thank you.